Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you probably know, across the Pacific in Japan, P.P.P Tokyo had their final show in Shinjuku FACE. As you know, Shinjuku FACE is closing its doors down, and many promotions who have done many of their events are having their final events there to say goodbye. But however, this is an important moment for P.P. Tokyo because majority of their shows were done there. And of course, the one person who is affected the more by this is Chanyeta, who of course is the current Venus of the Moment Party Women's Champion. As you know, she claims Shinjuku FACE as her birth. This is where she was born, and that's been her home since then. And we'll see how things roll up from there, from the entire event. Then, of course, we move on with Ring of Honor. As you all know, they are on the road to Death Before Dishonor. We're almost 2 weeks away from this event. Battle lines are being drawn and all that. And, of course, we'll see how things play out from there. And then finally, of course, TNA, much like Ring of Honor, they're on the road to lockdown. Battle lines are now being drawn. Matches are being set. So the real question, what's going to happen there? And then, of course, more of the TNA Knockouts television title tournament continues on. So we'll see who will advance even further. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, as always, we wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates. Give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In a world, pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We even, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We even, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We even, of course, do some real-timey news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We even, of course, got the Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's begin with P.P.P Tokyo, Shinjuku Last Dance Love Feast. Alright, P.P. Tokyo, Shinjuku Last Dance Love Fest. This is their much recent show, and of course, this is their final show in Shinjuku FACE. Now, P.P. Tokyo, just for the record, people, in case you get confused, they're not going out of business. It's the venue itself, Shinjuku FACE, which, of course, has been they've been their home since many events as I can remember watching. That's where they had some incredible matches, but also the current women's champion, Chanyota, has declared Shinjuku FACE has always been her home, her birth. This is where the birth of Chenyota came from. And it's a very emotional time for her, knowing too well that, of course, this will be the last time she sets foot in this amazing show. Now, for me personally, Shinjuku Face is one of my favorite venues, other than Korakuen Hall, but this is one of my favorite ones because it has a very unique entrance way, and of course, how the fans are, in this matter. So I thought it was a pretty good one. I like it. So it's sad that they're closing its doors, but it's not the end for P.P.P Tokyo, just so that you guys know. Now, they opened up, of course, by introducing the P.P girls, who are, of course, the valets that bring in the wrestlers through the entrance ring, and they introduced like a bunch of them being there, and they gave some words, reading the fans, that sort of thing, which is good, to hear from them. Then, of course, we did have the boss himself, Kabuto Itomi, Beast Murayama, and Riara, who in fact is out on injury, had some words to say. Now, personally, I would have thought Chenyota would be there because I know this is an important moment for her, but I'm presuming that she probably would want to save that for last, since I did mention Shinjuku Face is her home, her birth, that sort of thing. But yes. Now, they did show a bit of vignettes of everybody talking about their time in Shinjuku, best moments, and all that stuff. And I think it's a very nice touching to do, so people can understand how much this venue meant so much to them. I mean, like I said, I've seen many of their events countless times, and it's really fun. Now, our next match, we have Ichika Miyabi taking on Mirai. And I thought it was a very impressive matchup, not to mention Ichika Miyabi has to know that Mirai is not a slouch. She is a very strong, capable wrestler. I mean, powerhouse and a bit of the submission type of tactic that I don't know if she's fully aware of. But it was Mirai with the leg lock onto her that forced Miyabi to tap out, and just like that, adios, it was over. Now, our next match, we had a 6-person tag match. Team number 1, we have Non Toranga, Zones, and Tyson Miyaguchi. They take on Marika Kobashi, Yumehiro Inamari, and Arina Yamanaka. Yeah, the same Arina Yamanaka who I mentioned not too long ago, who now is a full-time member of the roster. I'm going to presume that she was invited because, her history with them as well. But it was a pretty good match, not going to lie. I mean, we have seen men and women face off each other too many times. But not to mention, we do have like a couple of powerhouses and all that. But in the end, it was Yamanaka who finished off Non Toranga with the Northern Light suplex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, it's over. Next match, this is one of 2 championships. This is for the P.P. Emperor of Party the Moment title in a 3-way. We have first we have the challengers, Joji Otani versus Shima, and of course the current champion, Yukimitsu Takahashi. Now, I am familiarized with Shima because many of you know him. He is part of Strong Hearts. Just recently, he is no longer with GLEAT. He just left. Now he's participating, but in 3 ways it's predictable. And keep in mind, the champion technically doesn't need to be pinned. But yes, you can tell the challengers and the champion would do whatever it takes to stop the pinfall or submission from ending. But in the end, it was Otani that picked up the win when he applied. I don't know if it was a frog splash, but it looked like it. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, brand new Emperor of Party the Moment champion. So that things ends right there. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Beast Murayama and Daisuke Sekimoto taking on Kentaro Hashizu and Koji Doi. Now, of course, Koji Doi is someone who I've seen in various promotions. Hashizu is also a homegrown from P.P.P Tokyo, and I'm sure this is also a moment for him, knowing that this will be the last time he set foot in this venue, that sort of thing. But they're facing against veterans who are far more better than him. But yes, but we did see this final stretch between Beast Murayama and Hashizu fighting off, and I have to say it was a pretty good stretch from there. But it was Murayama that put away Shizu with the power sit down power bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, it was over from there. Now, our semi-main event, we have, of course, the boss himself, Kabuto Hitomi, versus Soi Daimonji, and this one was a straight-up powerhouse type match. I mean, these guys did everything humanly possible, chops, forearms, that sort of thing, you know. But there was a bit of confusion, to be fair, on how this match won. I mean, somehow Kabuto did a pinfall. I don't know what it was, to be honest, and I cannot describe it because it was kind of weird, and it kind of allowed him to pick up the win just like that. I mean, it was confusing, guys. I mean, I don't think you can see that on their YouTube channel because they switch it up to members only at some point. But yes, that's what it was. So Kabuto picked up the win. Now our main event is for the P.P.P of Venus of Party, the Women's Championship. Chanyota defends her championship against Natsu Surime. Now, of course, we all know Natsu Surime, many of you who follow Stardom. She was part of Oedo Tai until she left. She has been doing a lot of freelancing, and not to mention she owns a bar. But of course, I know that times as a freelancer, she always aims for championships, and that's always been what she's been doing. But she's facing someone who, as I mentioned, has been growing in PP Tokyo, opening the doors for the women's in PP Tokyo. And she is a fantastic wrestler. I mean, Chanyota showed exactly why she deserves to be there. But she was able to defeat her by applying a running, sort of like an angle slam, but more like a running style. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, we did have a post-match promo with Chanyota talked to Natsu Surime, and then we have the roster showing up into the ring, you know, taking their final bow, and thoughts being in this venue, which is so emotional. But in the end, it was everything we would have expected. But like I said, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. You know what? Let me check just to be sure, because like I said, they often switched it into members only. I've seen it like too many times. Here we go. Yeah, they did. Sorry. Must have lasted for 24 hours. That's what I'm getting. So basically, it's in the members only if you saw it on YouTube. So I don't know if you can see it elsewhere, but if I was you guys, you should check it out. But yes, so for now, we're done with this one. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Alright, Ring of Honor. Now, as you all know, I mentioned earlier, and if you've been following Ring of Honor, as you probably can guess, we are on the road to Death Before Dishonor. Now, we open up with Sam Laterna doing an interview with Athena along with Billy Starks. Now, of course, Sam put out that Athena, as you know, is currently the longest reigning ROH Women's World Champion, you know, and that sort of thing. Now, Athena seems pleased that the fact that that's what she wanted to hear, but the one thing that pisses her off was the fact that she did not get those roses or anything, like people worshiping her like she should have been, like acknowledging her that much. But, however, the one thing that gets her going is the fact that at Death Before Dishonor, she will be facing Azuki, of course, you know, feeling embarrassed after losing to her in that trios match where Azuki teamed up with the the Brawling Birds, and MIT lost big time. But of course, however, to vent her frustrations, she decided to put the ROH women's title in a proving ground match against Janai Kai. So of course, she'll take her frustrations out, and that's where our opening match starts, of course, the Proving Ground match. Now, of course, Athena is determined once again to send a message to Azuki saying that she's not taking this belt from her, that she's going to be the forever champion, and no one is tougher than her. And of course, she tried to play dirty with Janai Kai, and not to mention Billy Starks gets involved, but it was Athena with the O-Face that sealed the deal. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, Billy Starks decided to stoop in the level of Athena by slamming Janai Kai onto the championship. And just like that, we all know how things will roll up from there. Now, our next match, we have Queen Aminata taking in with Rachel Leigh. I don't know much about her, but yes. Not to mention, it was a pretty interesting opening where she just beelined to her. Queen Aminata didn't see that coming, but in the end, she took her out with the off with the head, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, adios. Now, our next match, we have Beef versus Daddy Magic Matt Menard. Now, of course, Beef, as you know, his association with the Premier Athletes and Mark Sterling, or I like to call him the Weasel, he keeps getting, he's trying to prove his worth. However, that idiot, of course, Sterling keeps getting involved, and including the Premier Athletes getting involved, resulting of Beef, doing a splash off the turnbuckle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, Janai Kai, as you know, is not happy about Billy Starks getting involved, so she called her out saying that she would face her one-on-one. So the real question, will Billy Starks answer back? We'll just have to wait and see. Now, our next match, RPG Vice and members of the Don Callis family, Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. Well, as you know, these guys were crying like little girls because they wanted easy matches, and that's what they wanted. But now they're facing a team that they hit hard, they fight back hard as possible, and I'm talking about Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. So, basically, that, as you probably can guess, well, we saw some of the hard-hitting tactics that, of course, Ortiz and Eddie are. They're straight-up fighters. These guys don't back down from a fight. But when it comes to RPG Vice, they'll do whatever it takes to win. But, however, that did not become the case to them whatsoever. Give me a minute. Why not? Nope. Okay. Bye. Sorry about that. Anyway, during the post-match, well, of course, a loser can't stand losing their match, RPG Vice decided to cry like big babies and attack both Ortiz and try to take out Eddie Kingston by dismantling the back of his head, just like that. But of course, this is not over with Ortiz and Kingston, not by a long shot, boys and girls. Now, we did see, of course, Caprice Coleman with the chops it up with the Kingdom. Well, something weird is happening with them. As you know, Matt Taven now goes by Matthew, which is weird, and Mike Bennett goes by Michael. And they're trying to say the AI is the real deal, that sort of thing. Try to predict what they're trying to do and all this. I mean, it's kind of weird, but they're asking them, what are your goals? Are you determined to win the tag belts? That sort of thing. I mean, but they're still going on with this whole AI thing. If I was them, I would worry about people trying to make them look bad, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have Tehuti Miles. First comes out doing a promo, and then later faces his opponent, Dante Casanova. But this match was already over from the very start. Tehuti took out Casanova with a super kick, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, we did see Shane Taylor Promotions. Now, recently, when Tehuti actually made his appearance, it seems that Shane Taylor Promotions are scouting him as the next person to join their group, and of course, Tehuti accepted the offer. So basically now, Shane Taylor Promotions are growing in numbers. Now, our next match, we have Action Andretti versus LJ Clearing. Now, of course, Action Andretti, as you probably can guess, he has one thing in mind, is to destroy the and obtain the ROH World Television title. And that sort of thing goes down in every way. But he did use a Lio Rush's submission move that we have seen in the past. And just like that, it was over. Now, during an interview, Sam Latourneau was talking to Ortiz and Kingston until Mance Warner, of course, stepped up, saying that he was willing to join them and take things into the violence mode. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Even Eddie Kingston and Ortiz agree. So this is not over, not even by a long shot. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a match between them and RPG Vice, and probably a third partner they're choosing at Death Before Dishonor. Now, our next match, we have Teriyaki and Jay Lucas teaming up with Brandon Cutler, taking on Serpentico and Los Colons. As you know, these guys have been a very good team teaming up recently. But obviously, this match was going to go straight up to, of course, Serpentico and the Colons. It was the back snapper by Orlando onto Teriyaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 was over. Now, Smart Bar Sterling was introducing a brand new action figure that has in it, and of course, Dalton Castle and the Outlaws were right there watching. Like, for real, this is your toy? They didn't think it was really his, so they kind of, okay, so they just walked away. Now, our next match, we have Nick Comoroto and Aaron Solo taking on MXM Collection. We hardly see that much, but man, it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. It was a very fantastic one. But in the end, it was Aaron Solo who ended up on the wrong side of the centerfold and pinned by Mason Madden, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Ian Riccaboni made his way to the ring to get a comment from them. Once again, they're trying to show disrespect to him. But their ultimate goal right now is to obtain the ROH World Tag Team belts. So that means Mystico and Mascara Dorada will probably have to pay attention to what's going on with them now. Now, Action Andretti, of course, puts out a video promo, as you know, satisfied with another win. But the one thing, like I said, is still on his mind. It's Lio Rush and the ROH World Television title. So he's going to say that he's going to destroy him and take back what it should have been his from the start. And then that's when the lights turn off, and of course, guts, guts, guts. Now, we don't know what that means, but yeah. Action Andretti ran like a coward. Now, our next match is the ROH Women's World Television title. Isla Dawn, who issued the challenge against Red Velvet. Red Velvet, of course, accepted it. And Isla Dawn went right ahead. She decided to try to do whatever it takes to keep Red Velvet down, but nothing did. Red Velvet is a fighter. I mean, don't forget, her father was a boxer. And then, of course, boxers are really excellent fighters, you know. But, however, Red Velvet was able to overturn it and just made a pinfall. 1, 2, 3, done. She retained the championship. Our main event, we have Griff Garrison. He teams up with Lethal Twist. They take on Adam Priest, the Outrunners, and Dalton Castle. Now, of course, we all know Lethal Twist are aiming for the ROH 6-man tag team champions, of course, and that's always been the case. But not to mention, much of the moment we've seen Preston Vance and Jack Jamison of the Frat House keeps getting interfering, but however, Preston Vance accidentally took out Griff Garrison, costing the match, while, of course, the fight went outside between Lethal Twist and the current champions outside, leaving Adam Priest by himself. But he did roll up Griff Garrison, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Adam Priest picked up the win once again on his own. But just like that. But however, Griff Garrison and Jack Jamison just had enough of Preston Vance, and they just tried to beat him up completely. But thank God for the Dark Order, who showed up and had his back. As you all remember, Preston used to be a member known as 10, and it seems now they have reunited. So it's going to be interesting to see how things is going to go even further. But for now, we'll leave things like this with TNA. With Ring of Honor. Let's move on with our last review, TNA. TNA. So, as I mentioned earlier, they're on the road to lockdown. So this is their latest show they will be putting out, of course. But we're now setting up battle lines to get there. Now, amongst these battle lines, well, here's the interesting part. Our opening match features Matt Hardy taking on Ryan Bennett. Now, here's the deal how it's going to go down. If by any chance Matt Hardy defeats Ryan Bennett, well, that means that Jeff Hardy will have a title match in Lockdown against Nick Bennett. So that's going to be the trigger, all of that. But now, of course, when it comes to Nick Bennett, you know he does not want to challenge him. He doesn't want to put the title on the line against him. But of course, things were normal from the very beginning until Nick Bennett showed up. Thank God for Jeff Hardy kicking his butt. But Ryan Bennett ended up in the twist of fate. 1, 2, 3, boom, adios. So that means Jeff will have an opportunity for the TNA World Championship. Now, we did see, of course, Gia Miller conduct an interview with Xia Brookside. As you know, she'll be facing Wendy Chu, defending the TNA Knockouts World title. But of course, you know, Xia Brookside was not happy with the fact that she has to do this. And not to mention Layla Black, as you know, she is still aiming for this belt regardless, even if Brookside doesn't think she earned it. But we will see that soon enough. Now, Gia Miller talked to Jason Hodge about winning the TNA International Championship. I mean, it's a lot of things to go down. And Rich Swann and BDE actually went to congratulations on an excellent win for this one, and they're very happy for him. So, as you know, things are looking well for all sides here. Now, we have the quarterfinals of the TNA Knockouts TV title tournament. We have Heather by Elegance taking on Mara Shade. Now, I cannot speculate this was possibly the last match with Mara Shade. As you all know, recently Mara Shade was no longer with the company. She wasn't really a full-time roster member, but she said that she was going to finish up some storylines, and I don't know if this is one of them. But yes, and Heather, of course, as you know, was able to survive everything until now. But there was no interference coming from the idiots outside, but somehow Heather was able to outsmart Mara Shade and then use a drop kick onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she heads out to the semifinals. Now, Moose, as you know, has one thing that he wants to do. He always declared himself as one of the pillars of the new generation of TNA, while Frank Kazarian is one of the older pillars, the OGs, as or some people like to call it. And he wants to have a match against him in Lockdown, but Frank Kazarian, of course, is ducking him. He does not want to face him, but sooner or later we have to see that. Now, while Jason Hodge was taking care of some things, well, his family had the unfortunate tendency to deal with Mustafa Ali, and of course Ali putting his hands on his wife. So basically, as you know, Mustafa Ali is still pissed with the fact that he lost the title to Jason Hodge. And of course, he had to cross the line by making, of course, his wife nervous and making things a little difficult. But if I was Mustafa Ali, never mess with a man's family. Now, our next match, we have Brian Myers taking on Casey Navarro. Of course, as you know, last time Casey Navarro was spilling his heart out for the recent timing. But of course, the system didn't care. They just wanted him to shut up. But of course, Brian Bear Bronson was involved, and then later he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and the referee caught him and told him to leave. Now, of course, the system does not stay quiet regardless. Eddie Edwards showed up and attacked them out of nowhere, ended it in a no contest. And then we had Fabian Aichner showing up, and then Santino Marella decided, you know what, let's turn this into a tag team match. And that's exactly where we jump in. Navarro teams up with Aichner, taking on the system, Myers and Edwards. But it was a pretty good match, I'm not going to lie. I mean, the system have been very, very methodical about what they tried to do. And it was Eddie Edwards with a small package power driver onto Navarro, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, they decided to try to dismantle Navarro and Aichner, but thank God for Rick Souza's show up, who has their back. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, we haven't seen the Righteous for a while. It seems that things have changed for the better since they went to the Lake of Reincarnation. So, seems now things are looking well. But of course, we did see later on in the backstage, Jason Hotchner, as you know, confronted Ali for what he did, and all hell broke loose. And of course, John Schuyler tries to tell him, "Look, I need this job and all that." But the thing is, for Hotch, you don't do this to a man's family, so this is going to be difficult for him. Now, in the ring, we see, of course, the Righteousness. As you know, they felt because of this match they went through with the Hardys, they are now reborn. So now they're moving forward where exactly they're going to go. So we'll just have to wait and see where that takes us. Now, Harley Hudson was talking to Jada Stone. As you know, Dario Ray is determined to terminate Harley Hudson because she's unable to pursue results. And Santino tries to talk to her, saying, "Look, let me try to talk to the board of directors." And then, of course, Alicia, once again complaining that the system once again keeps getting all the results, but also people interfering. But Santino had no chance for that because he felt like, "Look, I got to deal with her, but we'll see what happens." But of course, Harley Hudson had enough of her, so most likely we'll see those two face off each other. Now, Allie, as you know, has been searching for Rosemary. We don't know where she is in this moment, but something very interesting, like a figure, showed up out of nowhere. Don't know what that meant, but we'll see. Our next match, we have AJ Francis versus He's the Hometown Man. Well, things were going very interesting from the very beginning until you hear the ding. That's right, Elijah showed up, but it caused a distraction right after the bell rung for Hometown Man to roll up, of course, AJ Francis, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom. So, of course, AJ Francis is pissed off about it. Now, Tom Hannigan had the opportunity to interview Cedric Alexander. As you know, Cedric Alexander has always declared himself as the standard of pro wrestling, but of course, the guy who is the true essence of what the X Division is all about, calling himself the record breaker and all that. And he looks at guys like Leon Slater as fraud. But of course, Leon Slater, as you know, confronted him, saying that he will have another opportunity. But Cedric Alexander said he's going to end everything that Leon Slater touches because he feels that he is nothing more than a fraud. Now, Frank Kazarian, as you know, has been ducking about having a match in Lockdown against Moose, but Daria Ray said that she'll put him in a match. But Kazarian said, okay, under one condition. It's an escape rules match. For those who don't know, it's the steel cage where you get out of the cage. Escape. So this is what he wants because, of course, he's going to run from Moose one way or the other. Now let's jump into, of course, the main event, the TNA Knockouts World Championship match, Wendy Chu versus Xia Brookside. It was a pretty good match. Wendy Chu almost had this match won by many occasions by putting her in the dirt nap, but it was Xia Brookside that was turned it around by outsmarting Wendy Chu by getting her through the ropes and then applying Dark Side, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, retained the title. And then Elena Black showed up, as you know. Now, as you probably can guess, she's aiming for this belt, and I'm sure Xia Brookside is scared out of her mind knowing that there's nowhere to run from her for this one. Now, we did see at the end of the programming where we had the contract signing between both Jeff Hardy and Nick Bennett. But Nick Bennett told him once he defeats him, he will declare himself as the best wrestler in the world. So we'll see what happens at Lockdown. But as of right now, we are done with all the reviews. Let's end this episode with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events. As you know, we have updates on Produce, of course. There's going to be a show coming up this coming Saturday, of course, in Cincinnati called Wrestle. They just announced Nixie XS will be in action against Alley Catch. So this is a much sooner event that will be happening. And then we have, of course, Volume 5, Scotum. They just announced Javi will be participating. Now, as you know, more names are being added for the upcoming Jersey Championship Wrestling event Breakdown that will happen on September 6th at the Mecca in Richfield Park. We have Control Chaos will be involved, Dustin Waller, Leo Sparrows, and Tarzan Duran. I don't know if you know who that is. And then finally, of course, the collaboration between Action Wrestling and Produce Dean Sunday School that will happen on the 13th of September in Jersey City. They announced Tim Bosby versus Matt Mako. So that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Now, we have two developments here. Now, many of you have heard that Kairi Sane has returned back to Japan, but recently, Monthly Peruso has announced it was confirmed that Kairi has been receiving offers and met with Japanese promotions. It's still unclear where. Now, I know some people would think that she'll end up with Marigold. Others would say Stardom. Don't know exactly how that plays out for her, but we'll see. But if I was a betting person, I would say maybe she'll be a freelancer. I mean, she can go to any promotion she wants. I mean, that's even a far more better deal than that. And then finally, if you guys are big fans of Marigold, you may have followed Chika Goto. Recently, Chika Goto has revealed that she's been studying All Japan Pro Wrestling. And the reason she's doing that was, if you guys know this, she is a tall individual. And not to mention, she's learning as a way to redefine her heavyweight style. So basically, she's learning things like something we've seen with Eddie Kingston. Remember, Eddie Kingston is a big fan of All Japan during King's Road, like from Misawa, Kawada, those guys back in the 90s. So it's great that she's learning something from these guys. And that's something I'm sure Eddie Kingston learned from them. And now we're seeing this amazing individual learning something. And I think that's important. I mean, she is tall, and not to mention beautiful, but it's great that she's learning something. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Well, here's the deal, guys, what I'm going to do. I will not be doing the next review for Friday. The reason is this, obvious, some errands, and not to mention the following day, which is Saturday, I go back to work, and that kind of causes a bit of the problems for me. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to continue to catch up, do the special episode for both the 5-Star Grand Prix and the G1. Now, I will release those at another time, but I am making plans for Maple Leaf, Choco Pro, and Produce for those shows for the special episodes. But we'll see what happens from there. But as of right now, we'll just leave things as it is at the moment. So for now, I will say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.